We're back again. What's up, y'all? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you that don't know me, I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellow Bird Counseling. Okay, what does that mean? What's a Yellow Bird Counseling? Well, our normal day-to-day activities include providing individual, group, family, couples, child, adolescent, teen, young adult, senior therapy or counseling in the states of Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, and Idaho. Okay? Soon more states to come, very, very soon. More states to come, but that's what we do. But what are we doing here on social media? Well, our whole mission at Yellowbird Counseling is to break the stigma that surrounds mental health and wellness by educating the general public on topics that we can all relate to and tie it back to how we can all use therapy. So, of course, when the awareness comes up, it makes it easier because we can just really bring more awareness to areas that are actually being recognized. So one of those areas is Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ADS, or ASD, sorry. Lord, there go my letters. And so that's one of the awarenesses that this month will include. We also have Stress Awareness Month, which we'll continue the month with, but I thought we would kick off with this month with Autism Awareness. Since we not too long ago talked about it, we can just continue on that discussion. But of course, I'm not doing it alone. Y'all know I haven't been by myself for a little bit. I've been feeling a little lonely, so I've had people to come in and help. So while I'm bringing my folks on, y'all be sure that you're sharing this live. Share. Share it on your timeline. Share it in your groups, because we're trying to bring awareness. Remember, we break the stigma. So your contribution to breaking the stigma would be to share this information with someone who may really need it. So cost you nothing to share, but it could award you something. All right, so without further ado, let's see what we got here. Who we got? What's up?
Hey, nothing.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
The gang's up here. Yes. Hold on, gang. Okay, I don't know. We'll do it like that. I don't know. What's this? No, I don't like that either. Okay. What's up, gang?
Nothing.
Gang.
Absolutely nothing. How you doing?
You know, working, just chilling and working. What's going on down there, Jakia?
Girl, trying to get my Wi-Fi together right now.
I know, right? They know how it is for me. Mine will go out and slap in a second. I might drop off the live. They just sit there and wait.
How you doing?
You know, pretty good. Just, working. That's what I always say to people. They be like, how you doing? I'm like, just working.
That's it.
I don't know what else to say. That is what I be doing. So, well, cool. All right. So y'all were all like, we want to talk about autism awareness. And I was like, yeah, of course y'all can. Y'all always can. So what makes autism awareness something that you're passionate about?
Well, you want me to go first, Dr.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So however y'all want to.
Okay.
It's just fine.
Well, I guess I can speak for both of us in this realm. It's important to us because we both have sons, 8-year-old sons, which I just found out that are on the spectrum.
Together.
I said.
So yeah, our sons are on the spectrum, and so this is really near and dear to our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How cool is that?
It's something.
It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence if you say, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
coincidence.
So, okay, cool. So y'all both got 8-year-olds. They're both on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool. So what does it look like having an 8-year-old boy on the spectrum?
It's beautiful to me. It's scary to me as well. And this is what I mean. There's a cutoff for when a little brown boy um is just, cute and cuddly and very precocious until they, I don't know what that cutoff date looks like or how old that is in society, unfortunately. But at some point in time, our black boys start becoming, they go from being cute and cuddly to weird and dangerous. So for me, when you're asking me how's it going for me, it's beautiful to watch him grow, to see all the progress that he's going through. But in the back of my mind, sometimes I'm scared because
Mm.
I am concerned that someone is going to misunderstand my black son. I'm just gonna be honest. So I'm gonna go there.
Tell
I'm
the
Mhm.
story.
concerned that someone misunderstand my black
Yes,
son
yeah.
in his environment. Here in our home, he's fine, but they try to make it a inclusive place at school, but I'm still concerned about him at school. I'm concerned about him when he's not in my presence because somebody may misunderstand him. And I do not allow my child to ride the bus. We live in Tuscaloosa County, and he goes to, of course, a Tuscaloosa County school. I don't allow him to ride the bus because I don't know what's happening if I can't put my eyes on it. So he's not allowed to ride the bus. We would prefer, his father and I prefer that we just take him to school. We take him where he needs to go, um, for his safety, for our peace of mind right now.
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I know I got deep. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. We love all that. That's
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is real though.
But I'm feeling you. Yes.
Hmm.
Expand on that for us, Jakia. What are your experiences?
Same. Like it's scary. Like they are amazing kids. Like anybody that's on the spectrum, they're so unique
Hmm.
and amazing and multifaceted and just it's a lot of layers to them. So, like she said, it's a beautiful thing to see. They funny, they quirky,
It
you
is.
know, and like she said, it's kind of we understand them as their parents, and being at home and just being in our own bubble.
Mhm.
But that's not how life is, and so they've got to go out into the world. And one of my fears, Dr. Nicole kind of touched on it, is, people not being able to understand like his way or things that he do or his mannerisms. And
Mhm.
I do fear bullying because
Mhm.
my son, he don't really understand right now. He's 8, so he don't really understand like nonverbal communication, or if somebody's being um talking about him or something like that. He just hears the words. Like if they say, like I know if somebody's saying if they don't like his shoes or something. Oh, I see you with them such and such shoes on. And my son will say, okay, yes, I got my shoes on, and they crack it on him and he
Mhm.
don't realize that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's just it's a beautiful thing to watch. I wouldn't want anybody else to be, his parent, you know what I'm saying? But I also have fears.
Yeah, because you look at how far they've come since birth. Like,
Yes.
for instance, my son is a NICU baby. He's a
Okay.
in ICU graduate.
Okay. Okay.
And he was nonverbal for a long time.
Mhm.
Um, I diagnosed my son. I did. I diagnosed my son, and I had a lot of pushback of me just being a worry wart, or an overzealous mom. I was told, he'll catch up. Don't worry about it. You're overthinking it. And really, what I want to tell parents is go with your first mind. That's what I want to say to parents, to women, period. Go with your first mind, because people will talk you out of a good thing,
Thank you.
and out of a good idea too. Um, I knew early on that there was something different, and I loved it, but there was something that I knew he needed help with, and because of my training, I really honed in on ages and stages, and what, thinking about what he was able to do and what he wasn't able to do.
Mhm.
So, for instance, when I would, call my baby's name or coo at him, he wouldn't smile back. He wouldn't coo back. And that kind of worried me. I wondered, could he hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wondered, was there anything neurologically going wrong? So as a clinician, I'm already assessing
Mm-hmm.
what's happening. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't crawling. He didn't meet those markers for crawling. For tummy time, we were doing tummy time. We were on our tummies, but we weren't doing anything. So there
Mhm.
was watching him grow and seeing the progress. I used to pray and ask, like, for him just to say something. Like, he wouldn't say anything. I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to hear him say mama. That's all. I just wanted to hear him say mama. And now he talks all the time.
Mama, mama, mama.
Uh-huh. He was about 5 before he really started talking. It took him a while. Um, but just seeing the growth and development in him, he's come a long way, and I'm so proud of him. I can't wait to see him grow some more. Um, but I'm just nervous. The climate that we live in now, I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just am.
Yeah. So, Jakia, tell us some, because you guys are talking a lot about like understanding and perception. Well, not understanding or taking them the right way. What are some things you noticed, Jakia?
In terms of Cameron, like his behaviors and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I will say he is getting better in terms of that, but he is really not good in terms of like his emotional intelligence. And
Mm-hmm.
just I can say if he's got something, just for an example, like at school, if he's doing like an assignment or doing something in school, and somebody takes a pencil or his pencil falls on the floor and breaks,
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I know that as his mom, like, okay, well, he's upset and he's agitated and having a meltdown because his leg broke on his pencil. But the teachers, they've got 15, 20 other students. So they're not looking at, what happened prior to. They just see, well, he's crying or he's being hard hit. He won't complete his work and he's not doing it because his leg is broken. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for the teacher to know, somebody else would have to tell her, or after Cam kind of calms down, de-escalates and things like that, he'll say, well, my pencil was broken and I couldn't write, and so, but it just takes time and it takes
Mm-hmm.
patience. And a lot of times, the teachers, they don't really have a whole lot of time to just, dedicate or allocate to one particular kid to see, well, what was going on before. They just see, well, he's not doing his work and he's refusing and he's,
Mm-hmm.
becoming a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where it comes in, when they start using words like problem and
Yeah.
issue, and
Yeah.
you get office referrals and things that
Okay.
that
Yeah.
that becomes an issue there.
Yeah.
Another thing you could parents probably notice, or have, is understanding sarcasm, or just understanding like the underlying meaning of things.
Mm-hmm.
I know my son, he does not get it. And it kind of, he likes watching the Big Bang Theory. And I always,
Really?
always, yeah, I sometimes wonder, I think the
Okay.
Sheldon Cooper um character, he's definitely on the spectrum to me.
Oh yeah, Sheldon. I thought everybody knew Sheldon was.
Amy, Amy, Amy.
Repetitive.
Repetitive. Absolutely
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah.
You may definitely see where they're like emotional intelligence is not there, or being able to understand social cues, um, or you know, kids that are very intelligent in one place. Like my son is very good. I think he's gonna be an engineer. He'll make
Mhm.
me very proud. He has constructed Jordan Hare Stadium here with Legos.
Oh wow.
We have the Alabama Stadium here. Yeah, and we have the Tennessee Stadium. He has constructed that in Legos. It only took him one time to look at it on television, and
Amazing.
he started building it.
Wow.
Amazing.
Mhm. He started building it, and it looks good. And
That's
he keeps
cool.
them in places, and if it's moved, there's a problem.
Absolutely.
Like he has little cars parked into little parking spaces.
Oh.
It gets very intricate. Um,
Hmm.
Do he got a concession stand in there with little hot dogs?
no, not yet, but he will tell you where the concession stand is supposed to be.
There you go.
Absolutely. There are football players on the field though.
That is so cute.
Yeah. He's a very intelligent little boy. He can read like no other. But sometimes children with autism have problems with comprehension because they
Mhm.
just don't get, like I said, the underlying meaning of things or social constructs of things. So their things can go over their head and they're like,
Quick. And
okay,
it don't bother them either. They're just like,
hmm, does not bother at
uh-uh,
all. But
uh-uh.
my son has a thing with things that are sticky. So he likes post-it notes. He likes can't be like sticky like syrup because he'll hold his hands out like this and he won't touch anything. And he'll freak out. So I have to keep something so he can wash his hands. But when he was smaller, I took him to Hobby Lobby. Lord, it was a long time ago. I took him to Hobby Lobby. They have those little orange stickers on things, like the price tags. I turned around I promise it wasn't but 1 or 2 minutes to look at a planner, turned back around, and there were stickers all over his face.
There you go.
He had took stickers off of whatever he could
Oh,
find, and he stuck them all over his face. And what can you say? Because if I tried to take them off, and he was having to come apart. So
leave them on there.
the stickers had to stay. And he is still
Mhm.
like that. He will work for a sticker, but he does not like sweets. He won't eat it because sometimes kids with autism, there are things tactile or they have certain tastes and smells trigger them.
Yep.
And he's not a sweets guy. He's not. So people, it's a problem for us because usually people, even professionals, they give out treats, they give out suckers. Do you want a
Mm-hmm.
sucker? And he's like, what?
Mhm.
No, no, give
You'd
me a
rather have a
sticker.
sticker.
He would rather have a
Hmm.
No.
sticker, and then he'll stick it on
Hmm.
the bread.
That's it. That's it.
He's an interesting dude. I like him.
You better. You better like them.
I do. He's my buddy. But he's
so
honest.
so yeah, so what so okay, cool. So I like that we're highlighting the strengths, definitely. So Jakita, what are some of the strengths you've noticed with your son?
Well, he's a very good reader. He started reading after he started talking, like
Mhm.
at 4.
Mhm.
So he started reading, and he knows. I can say, well, what does I'll spell a long word, and he'll just say it.
Mhm.
Um, he thinks that he can play by ear like piano, and you can't tell him he can't. Um,
Better not.
we tried to do piano therapy with him and like music therapy, and he was trying to teach the instructor, and so
Mhm.
he's really good like with hearing something and then like back, playing it on, not really like the chords, but like the notes. He can
Mhm.
do that.
Mhm.
Other strengths. He is, and I don't know if this is a strength or not, but he is very authentic. Like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
It's just black and white. So a lot of things that, you know, would affect me or I would, kind of take in, he doesn't. It's just like, next. So he's just who he is. He don't really sugarcoat anything. Yesterday, I had him late for the bus. Okay. So that got him off a routine. And,
Mhm.
a lot of ASD kiddos, they do well with routine, timing, and things like that. And I got him off of his routine. So um, when I talked with the bus driver, I said, "Well, I can meet you at such and such place with because I had to drop off my other son as well." So she met me there. So I told him, I said, "Well, Cam, I'm sorry I got you off your schedule. I know you don't like this type of stuff, but I'm trying to get you back on target or whatever." He said, "Okay, well, did you learn your lesson?" I said, "Well, what lesson, baby?" To get your child to the bus on time and not go back and get your tablet. Because I went back and got my tablet for work. I said, yeah, I learned my lesson.
They will definitely call you out.
I learned my lesson. So,
That's
yeah.
what Angel was saying the other week. She said her son on the spectrum, he does not like germs, and he will call somebody dirty and nasty in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we go? I mean, it's just like, okay, well, just come on.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What can you say?
I don't know. Like we were in the grocery store, lady she was a very heavy woman or whatever, and her stomach was hanging down and you could almost see it. And Cam said, well, why didn't she wear a bigger shirt? So I'm looking at something else, and I said, what are you talking about? Well, does she know that her stomach is hanging out? Why didn't she wear a bigger shirt? And I don't know if the lady heard, but she kind of like walked on, and I just said, well, I don't know why she didn't wear a bigger shirt. Let's get ready to go. Let's move.
That is
I
not what my
mean,
son would have said. My son would have said something totally different, but I'm so glad he had decorum because my child does not.
What? It's just
It's
we're
good.
in their world.
Yes.
We
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 just
we
live in it.
learn from them. We
Yes.
learn from them, and we adapt to and assimilate with what they've got going on. We just
Mhm.
here just as a guide.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right. So like y'all both kind of mentioned something about school. What kinds of steps have you had to take to make school a safe environment for them?
Oh, I know my face. You can go first because
You could go first, boo.
I well, I'll say this. My son started out in early intervention. Shout out to early intervention who did a great
Absolutely.
job. Early intervention was awesome for him. He started out about 8 or 9 months old
Hmm.
until he was, I think, 2 or 3, because I know there's a cutoff, 2 or 3.
Three. It's
Yeah.
three.
And then they go into like a pre-K type
Mm-hmm.
program.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to early intervention. They did a great job. And then we went into the Tuscaloosa County schools. And you're asking how did, that go?
Yeah, like as soon as like you both mentioned, like if there's something that your sons might be particular about that may cause them to become dysregulated, and the teachers may not understand things like that, just navigating so the environment is safe, so they're understood, um, and like any advice you might give parents with children on the spectrum.
A
To
lot of
understand.
those things are talked about in the IEP.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would say talk about everything, even if you think it's stupid or you think it's a quirk or something like that. Because what's supposed to happen is you put all that stuff in the IEP, you make them aware of triggers and things that work for your child,
What
and
doesn't
then
work?
yeah, or what does not work. And then
Mm-hmm.
the classroom teacher is supposed to read the IEP before the beginning of the school year so that they can be abreast of what's going on. And then, we have parent teacher open house. It's called open house. And then you meet your teacher. You try to have a conversation with your teacher then, but there's other people coming in. And what I think I'll try to do this year is make an appointment before school starts to have a conversation, because my child's going into third grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk about testing, because testing is done every 3 years for recertification of a special education program for kids, um, unless you have testing done outside. And so my child's father and I have we decided to do our own testing, because we had some difficulty with the school system and doing testing and being prompt about it. So if you have a child that you believe um, has a special need, all you need to do is talk to someone at that school. That's supposed to trigger a response from the school to reach out to you, and for you in turn, for you all to have a conversation about having your child tested for whatever you think is going on. Not necessarily autism, but could be. um we ended up going to Citizen Sparks Clinic,
Mm-hmm.
Children's of Alabama, to
Mm-hmm.
have my child tested. um we There are developmental pediatricians. So you have your regular pediatricians, and then you have your developmental pediatricians, who are supposed to be well versed in DSM diagnosis for young kids. So we work with Dr. Stringer, and then she moved over to Citizen Sparks, and so we went with her there, and we had full testing. Thank goodness this year. My son is 8, and he just got a full panel of testing for things that he was in need of. And we've been fighting for that for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing Angel was talking about. She was also describing the Sparks Clinic, and just like, because they do a pretty extensive testing, like 2-3 days long.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah. Bring a snack. Bring food.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need it. They
It's
do
gonna
OT, PT, speech. They do intellectual battery of testing. Yeah, it's 3 or 4 days for about 8 hours,
yep,
and it
yep.
is very intense.
And
Um,
it takes a minute to get in. So
mhm.
I always tell parents, as soon as they think something might happen, go on ahead and fill out that thick packet
Oh, it's the thickest packet ever.
and
Ever.
send it back and wait a year.
Yeah, yeah. And then, oh my gosh, yes, the waiting list at the University of Alabama was ridiculous. The waiting list everywhere was. We were willing to travel to Huntsville, to Mobile. We were willing to travel to get it done. Um, we had his pediatrician send something, just send it over to Children's on just a look, and someone had canceled their appointment, and they put us in that appointment, and it just so happened to be that way right before COVID started.
Mm.
Mm,
Yep.
you got lucky.
I got
You
lucky,
did.
but it
Favor
was
ain't
still a
felt.
fight.
It ain't.
It's not, but it was still a struggle, with the schools, because you can have a medical diagnosis of ASD, and some schools will give you pushback, because depending on what tests were performed during your assessment with either a pediatrician or a developmental pediatrician, some schools do not take some of those tests. There have to be certain tests that were done and completed for them to accept the ASD diagnosis, which is my understanding that's not supposed to be so. If you have a medical diagnosis, they're supposed to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
here we had a problem with that.
So so Jakia, what are some of what has been the journey for you to get things, in place for your son?
Well, he started out, well, he did start out in early intervention as well. And he started about, I would say about 18 months. So he wasn't in it very, very long, but he was in it long enough for, I knew prior to, like when he was maybe 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Nicole mentioned about like the cooing or the looking at her and things like that. It's the same. Like I would go in a room and have him in there and just talk to him, make noises to him, and he's not paying me any attention. He's looking almost through you, you
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
know. And so we did the same. We had his hearing tested because we like, well, maybe my baby can't hear,
Mm-hmm.
and after we did that, when he turned 1, it was like, nah, it's something different. And so people like friends, family were like, well, he's just nonchalant, he's just a calm baby. But I'm like, at 1, he don't know to be nonchalant. And so, I had been working around kids my whole entire career, and I'm like, my baby is different. And so I've been talking to the pediatrician, and just when they do those developmental milestones, like, he's supposed to be saying, 5 words at such and such. He's supposed to be rolling over, at this age. He's supposed to be, just meeting those fine motor skills and things like that. And he was not on target developmentally. So I knew he was on the spectrum, but we waited. So after early intervention, we went to, and the waiting list was maybe about 4.5, maybe 5 months for us to be seen at the developmental clinic at Children's. And it wasn't as extensive as Dr. Nicole's experience. It was a day. It was uh, half the day at the beginning, then the afternoon, like about 3 hours in the afternoon of testing. And after that, they just came back in the room and handed me this packet and said, well, he's got it. And I said, well, he's got what?
Mm-hmm. We got it. That's what they say.
Yeah, he's got what? And I knew that they were gonna tell me he had autism, because I had told my husband, I said they're gonna, because he wasn't there at that time. I had a newborn, so he was at
Mm-hmm.
home with the newborn. I said, you need to come up here because I feel like they're gonna tell me, that he is on the spectrum, and I don't want to be by myself getting this news
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
because it's a gut punch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You everybody, whether they want to say it or not, wants their child to be typical and you
Mm-hmm.
know and
Mhm.
and not have deficits or in those areas. And so when he gave us the packet, it's like, what do I do with this, you know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I just think that a lot of people, just even just getting the diagnosis, we have to get beyond it ourselves first,
We do.
before we can, go and advocate for our kids, figure out what resources that they need, and things like that. So it really starts with us. I have been in contact with several parents who, their child may be on the spectrum, and then they're just like, well, ain't nothing wrong with my kid, he's
Mhm.
fine, she's
Mhm.
just different, they just need a whooping. I've heard that.
Please don't.
And
You know,
who really needs a whooping? Like,
thank you.
why is that a need? That's
Why
another
it's
lie.
That's
it's not a
cultural.
need, you know, and it is just people just saying these things and kind of just, put it on the back burner. But, at the earliest sign, we can start getting them help and getting them the supports that they need if
Mhm.
we kind of get beyond our own, feelings and thoughts about it.
You
Yeah.
know what? I got a stat that says that it is a family that has a child with autism usually spends about $60,000 a year on average. And the lifelong cost, if you do not intervene and get intervention services for your child in like the first early years of life, you could be spending up to $1.4 million.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God.
I know I
That
don't have that.
that's a
What?
good. That actually is a good, because I saw this question in the comments. So, Malika, this might be answering some of your question. The question is, I had my boyfriend has a son that I believe is autistic. He's 15. I believe both parents, mom and dad, are in denial. Any suggestions on getting him tested?
Well, that's a very sensitive conversation to have because, uh, like she said, keeping it real, nobody wants to hear something's wrong with their kid. Nobody wants to hear that. They don't want to believe it. They know in their heart. Like I knew in my heart something was wrong. Like I said, I diagnosed my own child, and even when he received the diagnosis, I was still devastated. Even though I knew, it broke my heart because
Yes.
I knew what uphill climb he had from being a professional and working with other children on the spectrum.
Yeah.
So if you have a thought that there is a child that you know and their parents are in denial about it, you have a gentle conversation with them about that. And you may be able to ask them to consider talking to a pediatrician, or because this child is 15, so maybe a pediatrician, he's still eligible for a pediatrician. um or even asking, if they're okay with having some services in the school. But that's a very delicate dance when you are explaining or telling someone there's something wrong with their child.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And even, even from I always tell people when they ask how do I bring this to so and so's attention, with facts, education, like with like Dr. Nicole just read a statistic. So maybe if there is, maybe I don't know because I don't know the parents what they're like. So just this is just
it's
a
a it's a delicate thing to
It's a fine line.
yeah. You want to don't just what
Yeah.
I would do. Let me say it that way. What I would do, but I'm also a therapist. You got to keep that in mind. Um, I would notice if there are behaviors or symptoms that they also noticed, and then I might, casually kind of give them some literature. But that's me. I'm not
Mhm.
saying you should do that at all, but because, like Dr. Nicole said, that's super delicate, especially when it's hard. I'm sure it's hard for a spouse to tell if it's two bio parents and one finds out and has to tell the other one. I'm sure that's hard. I've heard it where it's like, I know but my husband X, Y, and Z, or I know but my wife blah blah blah. So that it delivering that could be hard. So but maybe it may be it may be a long conversation, meaning it may not be one conversation, it may be a little
Absolutely.
bit of a
You may
conversation.
want you may want to start with some stats. So
Yeah.
boys are 4 times more likely to be diagnosed than girls.
Yes.
Yeah, and
but
one in
but
every two
is
children.
that because girls ha- learn to socialize themselves a
That
little
may
bit?
be. We do over socialize our girls. We do, because they have those baby dolls and those little heels and things. It may be that we really socialize our daughters a little more, so maybe they
It's harder to.
harder to diagnose.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Maybe so.
I
Yeah.
mean, I see that because I know there's women. There was this. I don't even know when I got it some years ago, but it was like this list of 100 things. One of my clients, I think, sent it to me. We got those clients that are like super scientific and clinical themselves. They may not have the title, but they probably did as much school as I did. They just didn't have to take the test. But they sent me this long list, and it was like all these women saying, "Oh my gosh, I never knew why I did blah blah blah, or why I was this way, or why I thought this or this was my response," because we're socialized to be something, held
Mhm.
to this weirdo standard of stuff. And so um grown up women saying, I think I might be on the spectrum. So I hear of, this is just anecdotal, women that find out a lot later in life that they're on the spectrum than maybe boys might find out.
Mhm.
So
I watch different podcasts and YouTube, videos of not just children but adults that are on the spectrum as well. And to your point, I have seen, more women that say, well, I wish, my parents had, got me the help that I needed, when I was younger, or I wish they had of, honed in on this when I was doing this, because I didn't know that, me rocking back and forth was a repetitive behavior, or, things like that. And things that, like Dr. Nicole said, we may think it's, nothing. Still speak on it, still let, the
Mhm.
pediatrician or counselor, whoever you are, whoever they feel comfortable talking to, let them know, because it may mean something.
Mhm.
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 Yeah.
Shoot, to be honest, I think I'm on the spectrum. I think back to when I was a kid, and then a few years ago, I told my mom I think I'm on the spectrum, and she was like, me and your dad always wonder. I said, stop talking to me. Let's just not even have this
they, they
conversation.
waiting on you to say something.
Right? Don't even. Let's not even do that, because I
Mhm.
used to do stuff like spin around in circles just
Yes.
for
Mhm.
hours, just spinning
Swimming.
around, and it was a self-regulation thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
still do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stimming, shaking of the
Mhm.
Mhm.
hands, shaking of the head, spinning around,
Mhm.
pinching, rocking. Those are
Mhm.
self-soothing techniques.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
self-soothing techniques. There are children on the spectrum. Some of them have co-occurring other issues like ADHD or
O- OCD.
Mhm. Mhm.
OCD. Yeah, they do. So sometimes that ICD-10 and that CPT code, it looks real interesting once it's over. It's like a whole slew of numbers behind that
Mhm.
for billing. Um, ADHD, and it looks so different. Like my son is ADHD, so not only is he spinning, he don't go to sleep. That boy
Mhm.
had took a nap since a nap was known. Boy, if I could bottle that energy up, he was like Sonic the Hedgehog. He gets up and he hits the ground running. Boy, I'm like, my God.
That's
I'm
how
a
Mr.
night owl.
Carter is.
I'm a night owl. So I'm up till maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. And my son is looking at me and we looking at each other. I'm like, why are we still looking at each other? Go to sleep.
Somebody go to sleep.
Somebody. 1, 2, 3, close
You
your
looking
eyes.
at me, looking at you.
Right. He's looking at me and he's, what we gonna do? I'm hungry. No, go to sleep. But I'm not sleepy. What do you mean? Oh, He was under when I took him in to see Dr. Stringer. He
Mhm.
got in her lap. He got under the exam table. He opened the door. He spun around in the chair. He wrote on her walls. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh no, that's not what good little brown children do. Boy, come sit down over here. No. Listen, it is what it is. And you sitting there going, don't you embarrass me in front of these nice, kind people.
Whatever, because if he was this color, they'd be like, oh, that's just how he is.
Well, we accept him at home, but dear God, make me a bird. Somebody come save me over here. Boy, don't
What
sleep.
did God make me a bird?
Make me a bird so I can fly far, far away from
How
here.
far away from here?
Yes, he does not sleep. Anything can just change his focus. He's a good reader and he can be reading. But I'm telling you, if a butterfly flies by, you can forget about whatever he's reading.
Dr. Nicole, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
yes.
my son has ADHD too. And
Oh, can we come play for real? Bring Sonic
yeah,
over to my house. We'll be all right.
Listen, all y'all need is a one of them bounce houses.
We
Y'all make
have
y'all some
one. We have
y'all make y'all
one.
some drinks and put them boys in that bounce house, and you'll have a great little time.
Come on over.
yes, yes. And so, some of the symptoms with or criteria
Mhm.
for ADHD and ASD kind of align.
They do.
Yeah, yeah. So with you saying him not sleeping, I'm thinking about Cam up at night because he was up last night talking to his straw. He likes to make straws and pipe cleaner stuff. So he's talking.
Aw.
So I don't know where the ASD stops and the ADHD starts. Like I don't know because like you said, with the ADHD, yes, like if he's doing something and sees a bird, oh, look at the bird. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But then like with the autism, okay, now I got to think about this. I got to focus on this bird. I don't want to do anything. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like I don't know where one stops and the other starts.
They overlap each other.
They overlap.
Yeah, they
They
hold hands a lot.
absolutely, yeah, they overlap each other. Now the energy and the lack of focus and attention, you
Tension.
know what that is.
Right. Right.
And then when it comes to like lining up all your cars and all
Oh
your
yeah.
toys, then
ASD.
yeah, or that my child eats pizza. Like I said, y'all come save me. I'm tired of pizza. He eats pizza
I love pizza. He can come over here.
and cheese
Love
grits
pizza.
and eggs with bacon crumbles. They cannot be regular bacon. It must be bacon crumbles.
Okay.
You,
Mm-hmm.
you right. You said okay. Like you're
Gotcha.
real.
Oh, I already
You're
know.
real calm. You're real calm about this. I'm
I
concerned about
already
constipation. Okay, I'm concerned.
know. Okay.
Miralax.
He got he got to eat. He
It's
got to
like,
eat. And
Miralax
they
and
so
pizza.
they so funny about like she said, like the taste and the textures and things like that, specific things that
Mhm.
they, won't even bother with,
Mhm.
and like I tried with before Cam started, I started like acclimating his, palate to other stuff. But he would just eat pizza, cheeseburgers, French fries,
ooh,
and
that sounds
bananas.
delicious.
I'm
And
so
bananas. And he
good.
has to eat his banana like it's a corn on the cob. Okay. And but he would always like, and it's just like eat the banana, like, But
I
anyway,
see you. Yeah, I see you. I understand.
that's how he eat the banana and still do to this day. But I said, prior to me having kids, okay, well, if my kids didn't eat what I cook, they just gonna be hungry. They're not gonna eat, or they gonna, I make them
Mhm.
eat. But it's like they'll just
Mm-mm.
not eat.
They will. I'm telling you, I
They,
told my son the other day. I said, "Look, you gonna eat what I cooked, or you gonna be hungry." He said, "Well, I guess I'm hungry then." I said,
uh-huh.
"Well, all right then."
And they so like to the letter, and it's like,
Hmm.
but I got to feed the boy, so give him his pizza, child. Give him his
I
pizza.
I have given in to either you eat what mommy cooked, or there is an alternative, like either
Mhm.
a sandwich or a salad or
Right.
something. We need some greens or some foliage or corn. He likes green beans. We can do that.
Mhm.
Or I phone a friend.
On a friend.
But shout out my mama real quick. It used to be my father. My father, before he passed away, used to be able to get my son to do just about anything. And his fight, he's
Oh,
really good with his dad. So he has this thing about men. He said to me, "Mom, you don't have a penis," and I said,
Oh,
"No, no, I
then
don't."
there's that. There you go.
And yeah, he said, "So dad is my favorite. So because you don't have a penis," and I was like, "Well, whatever." So what I'm getting at is they were able to get him to do things because he felt a connection.
because of
So
the
they all
penis.
had a penis.
Because of the penis.
You know,
So we're talking about
Whatever works.
I could phone a friend. So I used to call my dad when he was living, or if his dad is available, you know, I'll pull him in from whatever room he's in. Like, hey, would you mind? Now I phone a friend. My friend is my mom. I'm like, hey, get your boy,
I need you.
get your
I need
boy.
some help.
Yeah. And my mom is way more loving and caring than she was when I was a child. So my question is, oh, now you got McDonald's money? Now
Ain't
you yeah,
that's how they be. That's how they
they?
be.
she got McDonald's money now. So she's like, just give him whatever. If he's hungry, he want noodles, just let him eat the noodles. No, mama, he had noodles 7 days, 14 times this week.
Mm-hmm.
Noodles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a little ramen, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
With a little
Malika
butter.
said that her son, or I guess her boyfriend's son, maybe he'll eat chicken wings every day and nothing else. Yep, I will
Mm-hmm.
too. Me too.
Wow. I
Nothing
fly
but
away.
chicken wings.
Is there a group for mothers raising children? There are a lot of Facebook groups, and I mean, you can interact virtually with moms. There's a group that I interact with. It's awesome kids of Tuscaloosa. But as far as being in person, I don't know of many that are meeting actually in person. Like University of Alabama has a siblings group. I think they do have a parent support group. I'm not sure if they're meeting in person. I know that the last time I attended a group, it was virtual. I would really like for my child to be able to play with someone, because that's one of the things that you really have to do with child on the spectrum is to socialize them. And I know that sounds like I'm just gonna keep it real. It sounds like you're trying to socialize a dog. You know, you have a pit bull puppy, and then you have to bring them around people so it don't bite somebody. I feel like that's kind of how they teach you, like, oh, you have to socialize your child. Really? Okay, so who are we supposed to socialize them with? Because
With
some
your
kids
kids,
pick up.
son.
Oh,
Okay.
we've already
Oh yeah,
talked.
we gonna do that. We gonna do that.
Yeah.
But they also, because classrooms are inclusive, so they pick up all kinds of words and phrases and things that you don't want them to bring home. I'm not gonna say it on camera, but I've told you in private.
You have.
Um,
You have.
we need people to play with. I'm just want to say, my husband and I, we old. Okay, we don't have time to get on the floor and play Legos no more. We do, we do it, but
You're not even that old. Like,
I'm 40. I'm okay with it. I'm 40. I'm good.
okay, that does not mean you can't get on the carpet and
Let me
play
tell you something.
Legos.
Our
I
needs are
have
different
Tootsie
at
Roll knees.
40.
I do not have Meg Thee Stallion knees. I don't. I have Tootsie Roll knees. I have
Thank
Thong
you.
Song knees. I do not have Meg Thee Stallion knees. I cannot get down there and do that. I stepped on a Lego the other day, and I had to promise the Lord that I would rededicate my life. I'm telling you, I almost took me out. I just can't. I just can't. We need people to play with. This is a PSA. If you are a responsible adult and raising responsible children, we need play dates. Like I said, Lord, make me a bird, because
Magnolia asked a good question. Is it good to do family counseling with a child on the spectrum, with them and their family?
that would really have to be an issue for you to do family counseling. Because if ASD is the only issue we're talking about, is it acceptance of the ASD that may be the issue? Then it may just be mom and dad, and you may not need the child for
Yes.
that. If we're talking about acceptance and denial of ASD, I'm gonna tell you, I was one of those parents that were. I was kind of scared to tell people that my child was on the spectrum, because I didn't want them to treat him differently. I don't want them to treat me differently. And sometimes if you socialize your child enough, some people don't know. So what's the point in saying something? You don't want them to have a stigma, and you don't want them, people treating them differently. So I'm just gonna be honest. I did. I was very
So,
apprehensive about telling people.
so to flip on the other side of that, what advice would you give? Like, if you are seeing a client who's a parent of a child on the spectrum, or if you're seeing a child on the spectrum, what might be your approach?
I would say if I were with a parent and that he or she was kind of in denial, I would just kind of listen to them, listen to their concerns, their fears, and validate those, because that's real. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we can't make anybody come to grips with anything, you know what I mean? But just kind of listening to, their concerns, and making sure that they heard. um it's just gonna take time. It took time for me. Even like, like I said, I've been knowing since he was 6 months old. It still takes time, and um you kind of go through phases. Like, I know I went through the phases where I was very much of a helicopter mom, you know what I'm saying? And very like overprotective. Like, if he's doing something that's, quirky or weird or whatever, you have it, and people looking, I'm like, well, what you looking at?
Mm-hmm.
You know what
That
I'm
would be
saying?
me. What are you
Yeah.
looking at?
I would literally take my child out of the situation because I wanted to protect him.
I
I
went
was,
through that. Yeah,
yeah, I was just
yeah,
taken
yeah.
out.
I went through that.
Mhm.
It's like that's what I'm saying. Anger, just kind of like don't watch him. He's not bothering you. Type thing. I went through the phase of apologizing,
Mhm. Yeah.
apologizing. Or I don't know, like saying, well, oh, I'm sorry, he has autism, this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
And I got out of that one because I'm like, I'm not gonna explain away my child. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And we can leave, or we can go into another room to kind of have him to calm down, whatever. But I got out of that phase because I don't want him to hear, well, I'm
Mhm.
sorry he has autism, because then
Right.
that's telling him, something is wrong,
Right. Right.
with him.
Mhm.
So yeah, I kind of just went through phases, and I say that for anybody that is in counseling, a parent or a caregiver, or whomever, you don't really stay in the same place, because they're evolving, you're evolving, your mindset is changing about it. So just kind of give them that time, and give them that space, and that grace to you know tell about how they feel. Like Dr. Nicole, just out the gate, she was like, I'm scared. And
Mhm.
so just
Yeah.
just kind of listening to that, and validating that
It's
was important.
overwhelming. It is so overwhelming. We have to remember self-care because it does consume a lot of your time. OT, PT, speech, ABA. They want
Don't
them to
talk about
come
ABA.
two times a week. They want speech twice a week.
Yeah,
They want
yeah,
ABA 5 times a week. And then you have to work a 40-hour a week job. You got to wash your tail, put some food in your mouth, and at least take a nap. And by
hmm
the time you've done that, sometimes you're just frustrated
exhausted.
and
Hmm.
exhausted. I remember just feeling like I couldn't help my child. I'm able to help other people's kids, but my own. Like I told you, my son didn't want anything to do with me once he found out I did not have a penis. So he didn't want me to help him put his clothes on, to take him to school. I mean, it was like I felt useless because he didn't even want me to cook his food. He wanted his dad to cook his food. Like it got that bad.
Wow.
I had to have like this scream fest, and I was just screaming and crying. I'm like, how can I help other people's kids and I can't help my own child right now? And my dear sweet husband said, "You are doing what you're supposed to do." And
Mm,
he was so loving and kind about it. Shout out
mhm,
to dad.
Shout
Because
out
I
to
did.
that.
It's overwhelming, and you have to take time for yourself. Self care is one of those things that people are talking about a lot now. We're talking about that in therapy a lot, but um being newly diagnosed and having a child live with you, and you want to be able to help. If you want to be able to help a mom or a dad who has a child on the spectrum and you have the time, would you please take the child to speech so that mom could take a nap, or clean the house? Or would you be willing to um come to an IEP? Because you know what? Sometimes we need people to vote in our favor. I can't believe I just said that, but I
support.
did. We need bodies
Yeah.
to vote in the IEP. Another thing you can do is, if you're seeing parents getting frustrated, if you could be a buffer, that would be awesome. If you could take that child to Domino's Pizza, dear God, for the fifth time that week, do it. If you know that child likes honey buns, that's buy some. That could be an incentive for that child. I mean, if this is sometimes it's just the small things that
Yeah,
could be helpful to
it
a
make a
parent.
difference. Hmm.
It make
Yep.
all the difference in the world
Yep.
to a parent.
Yeah.
And if you, I'm trying to read the comments and answer those
Where
too.
y'all see those? I can't even.
Okay, so where it says
On
private
the
chat, go to where it says comment.
Oh, okay,
It's a little
yeah.
bit
okay.
blue, and then you can see.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Malika, if the kid is living with you, that might give you a little bit more.
She said,
I mean, just because that's a part of your intimate life, it's not like that. If he, I don't know, but if he was not living with you and he was living away from you, and you wanted to put your, like, give your input, it would maybe be real hard. But if you're helping rear this child, and I don't know the intricate details of that, But if you're helping rear the child, uh, definitely uh, starting off with some literature
Read a
that
book.
you and your boyfriend could go over together at first and ask his thoughts on it.
Yeah. You could definitely be a buffer. Sometimes when parents are still in denial and they want their kid to be the next LeBron or the next Lord, I don't know, not Lil Durk, but whoever.
Not
They
little
want that
dirt.
child to be the next, something. When you think about their child having ASD or having the symptoms or signs or being diagnosed, sometimes that feels like a death because now all the things that you thought that your child could be, you kind of feel like, okay, so that's taken out, you know. Now you're thinking about long term, how you gonna take care of that kid, who's going to take care of that kid? Are they going to be able to take care of themselves? It's a lot of other questions that parents have, and then they feel down on themselves or bad about themselves because they feel like I did. Let me just talk about me. I felt guilty because I felt like I caused it.
Hmm.
I thought I'm a lupus patient. I said, well, maybe it was one of my medicines.
Hmm.
Maybe if I could have held him a little longer, he was born very premature. Maybe that was the issue. Um, it was me and my body. And then I started seeing stuff like, hey, did you take Tylenol when you
Hmm.
were pregnant? Why, yes, I did. Well, man,
Everybody took Tylenol when they were pregnant. We couldn't
not
take
your
anything
child.
else.
Right, that's what everybody says when they see that
We can't take
that
anything else.
settlement.
Yeah. And I'm like, why, yes, I did. And my poor husband said, let me tell you something. It's not your fault. We're not worried about it. He's gonna be fine. And he
Hmm.
when I fall short, he really does pick me up in that aspect. Um, it's feel like a death. Like the child is still alive, but all those hopes and dreams you had, and then when you hear about autism, and then the long term commitment that you have to take care of a child with autism, depending on where they are in the spectrum. Then you're thinking about, okay, so who's going to take care of them if something happens to me?
Mhm.
Parents already think about that with
Mhm.
a neurotypical child, but with
Hmm.
a child that's on the spectrum who has a lot of different needs, that's a whole different ball game. So I could see where denial comes in, but I
Hmm.
couldn't be in denial because I'm a clinician. I couldn't be
Yeah,
in denial. I wanted to be in
yeah,
denial.
we don't get that luxury, right?
Mm-mm.
We don't
No,
get that luxury. Then we really can't
no,
help nobody.
yeah.
So, so last question: what about if you're seeing a client? Because I know y'all both are open to kids.
Mhm.
Seeing kids, what might be some things you would do with a child on the spectrum?
Parallel play. I know it sounds so weird. I would do parallel play.
Ooh, parallel play is so fun.
Yeah, I would do parallel play or some type of play therapy. I would probably do my therapy sessions while doing something that child would like to do, maybe blocks, Legos, walking, playing Pokemon. I have no idea how to do that, but I would try. I think play therapy would work. I don't think some of the conventional, like a cognitive behavioral, depending on the age of the child, you might be able to do that with a 15-year-old, but you probably don't want to do that with like a 7 or 8-year-old, because
Mm-mm.
you're
Any child, 7 or 8, really.
yeah, and in virtual would not do. You would definitely have to do in person. Um, and be okay with a little silence for a little while. But I think once you start to learn the child and what they like and what they're into, you can fill up a whole hour with it. You really can. And really teaching independent living skills as they get older. How to tie your tie, or um, simple hygiene. Those are things
Mhm.
that you can do during therapy sessions that will be very helpful to the parent and in the long run.
Yep, yep.
Looking both ways before you cross the street. My son he's invincible. You just walk on out there.
This goes.
Yep. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, like he's on UA campus or Auburn campus. Those students, they just walk out there. They be like, "Hello."
Earbuds on and everything. Then look for not one car. I'm like,
Not one. They're just out there. What is parallel play? Parallel play is, if you've ever seen a younger child, they may be playing blocks, but they're together but playing separately. So you see two kids that or two girls playing with dolls. Sometimes they play with dolls. Dear gosh, they play like this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! But if you're parallel playing, I'm playing over here. You're playing over here. We're playing with the same toy, but we're not playing together.
Mm-hmm.
And I will still be asking questions. How are you doing? Tell me how mom and dad are. Tell me about your favorite thing to eat. But we're still parallel playing. We're playing, but not together. So it's kind of like if you were coloring with a child, you have
Mhm.
your own coloring book, they have their own coloring book. That will be considered parallel play because you're not doing it together. Like
Mhm.
doing a puzzle would not be considered parallel play.
Mm-hmm.
You're interacting together in that activity. Parallel play is where you have your thing, I have my thing, and we're doing the same thing
So
together.
so maybe not checkers they're unless it's some sort of therapeutic skill that they're trying to learn with it, like how to take turns or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, to play checkers or even chess because that's a strategy game, would help them think about doing things a step or two steps ahead of
Next
time.
move.
Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
next move. Uno would be a good one. I would not suggest spades.
Oh no, for no one,
Mhm.
for anybody.
I wouldn't suggest spades, but you could do dominoes. That's not parallel play either, though. But you could do dominoes. Um,
Yeah,
now,
when they're I would shoot when kids when we would play together or do like games that are interactive with both of us, it would be for the sole purpose of like what is that social skill we're trying to develop.
mhm,
Other than that, it would be the parallel play, you know.
yeah,
Just so they're not too dysregulated. And I probably wouldn't even start off with interactive. I would start off with parallel because I would want to learn the kid and their triggers and stuff
mhm.
instead
Yeah.
of them being all upset after therapy because we played checkers and I moved the checker piece too
Oh
far
yeah,
over.
Yes.
and they
Yeah.
will never let you forget it. They will never let you forget it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
It
So
gives them that sense of independence, and
Mhm,
you can still kind of watch them and see what they're doing and talk to them, engage them, but let them kind of just be, to themselves, so to speak.
yeah, yeah.
They,
yeah.
Give them a
yeah.
little autonomy, but you're still in control of what they're doing.
Right.
Uh-huh.
They
In a
just really
controlled
need that space to be themselves instead of you forcing them to conform to something.
environment.
That ain't gonna work. They're gonna be like, I don't ever want to go back there. And if you make me
Mhm.
go back there, I'll hold my breath the entire time until I pass out. And oh well, you know.
Yeah. You could do clay, you could do um I've even done you play your checkers, I play my checkers. And I
Mm.
just play
Mm-hmm.
around that. I've done some very unconventional things. I've held a session in the middle of a highway in the turning lane, put some cones up
What?
and held on for dear life.
Woo!
It worked.
That's unconventional. You're right.
It is
Ethical but
unconventional.
unorthodox. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
But you make the child feel comfortable.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna let y'all go, but what are some last tips that you might give out to some of our individuals with autism spectrum disorder, or someone that may know somebody or somebody's child with it? What are some other tips, last tips or tricks you might give?
I would say certain things, just make sure that you're kind of careful about what you say or how you lead. Um, like in terms of the young lady that, she has her boyfriend, her son may possibly be on the spectrum. That's kind of being careful about, how you lead. You don't want to say things like, well, I think he might be slow, or just things that
Mm-hmm.
can be offensive, or well, what's wrong with him, that type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Just being
Mm-hmm.
careful about that, and being respectful,
Mm-hmm.
um giving that person grace, and just letting them, kind of do things in their own time. Give them the information, you know, this is what this is, you know, this type of thing, but kind of giving them their time to process it and do things in their own time. And
Yep.
it's a
Yep.
it's a spectrum disorder. It's a lifelong disorder. So, you know, it can take time for us to get adjusted.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Yeah. It's
and
not
nothing's
anything you
wrong
can
with
take.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing's wrong with them. They
And
have
you can't take medicine for it to go away.
that's
Nope.
right. It's a lifelong disorder. And you know, changes are gonna happen. They're gonna adjust, they're gonna, you know, grow up and may not be as rigid as they were, you know, 5 years ago and things like that. But just kind of give them and I'm talking to myself, give them patience
Mm-hmm.
because they're so different, but they're so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible if y'all remember a couple what week before last when Angel came on, she's got one kid, one boy with autism, the other one it deals with ADHD, and she told us some pretty, she had some pretty difficult times, but both boys are fine. They work jobs. One's on their way going to college, so and
Great story.
she didn't have to give either one of was she started them on meds, but the meds was doing more harm than good, so she advocated and learned her children, and they're thriving,
Mm-hmm.
so it's
And
possible.
that's important to note too, you know, as parents, you know, we are the expert, like in terms of, you know, yes, we take them to the pediatrician. Yes, we, you know, they're in school, they have case managers. My son has a paraprofessional,
Mm-hmm.
but they're ours. And if you're in tune with your kid, you know their strengths, their weaknesses, what their quirks, what works, what does not work, and you know, just kind of adapting to that. And I will say this too: what may work today might not work on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And so it's just being adaptable and accommodating, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to them. That's
Yeah.
is important.
I would say patience too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for saying that. For I say, and give yourself patience too, because you're human, and you're really trying to navigate this thing and know your child. And I would say advocate for your child with every professional you come in contact with your pediatrician, with OT, PT, speech, with anybody. Challenge, ask questions,
Mhm.
ask why not, ask for the differential diagnosis. And
Mm-hmm.
if you ask for something and they don't give it to you, ask them to put it in writing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
That they won't give it to you.
you will see how things will change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, definitely put your foot down and advocate for your child, but also educate yourself. Um, you're gonna be a dangerous parent if you're educated, most definitely.
Mhm.
Um, and then please give yourself some grace and some patience for yourself, your partner, for your child. It's going to be a difficult time for you or for your child sometimes. Um, and don't forget to like dance in the rain, like really dance in the
Oh,
rain. Um, it's just water.
Right.
Have fun and love on your baby. Love on them as much as possible. Let them know you love them no matter what they say, no matter what they do. That's what I tell my children. No matter what you say, no matter what you do. There's nothing that you can say or do to make me not love
never.
you.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Yep.
Good
And
for you, Magnolia Merchant. I'm talking to my daughter's school tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Make
Very
them put that stuff in writing, honey. Tell them. They have 30 days from the day that you asked them about that to make that happen for you. Oh, please
And
don't
tell them if
forget.
they feel like they want to drive. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't forget
Go
about
ahead.
places like ADAP or I think
That's
it's
what I was
called
about to say.
APEC, Alabama Parent Education Center. I think that's where it is. It's in Montgomery, but they had a training the other day that I attended virtually. There are some really good places. You ran. Am I saying it right? Yeah, I'm saying it right. You ran.
UAD ran Regional Autism Network.
Yeah, I would not say that I'm very excited or impressed, but they're there. Um, I have
If
some
you're a
suggestions.
first timer, like just getting a diagnosis, they help with like the different toolkits and things like that they can send out.
Mhm.
But yeah, as far as other resources, I haven't been able to receive it. But a first time diagnosis, they do provide like a lot of information on socialization, on toileting, or whatever specific area your kid has deficits in.
I'm gonna put the ADAP thing in there. So if you and ADAP is you're gonna be your advocate for school.
Yeah, if you're trying if, for IEPs and things like that, if you're trying to get certain accommodations for your child in the school, they definitely can help you. I think a APEC can help. Um, there is a walk, autism walk,
Mhm.
here in Tuscaloosa. They're having one in Birmingham, one in Huntsville, one in Mobile. The one here in Tuscaloosa is on the 16th in Sokol Park from 1 to 4. So there's supposed to be a really good event. I'll be there.
Yeah. See there?
Birmingham is gonna be in Avondale Park on the 15th.
Hmm.
April 15th.
Yeah.
One on the 15th, one on the 16th.
And if anybody want to get a play group together, let me know. Hit me up.
Play group. Yeah. Well,
I got
I,
thanks.
you. I'm coming to your house. We could.
I
Right.
didn't I didn't hit you. So
Boom. There we go.
And
Yeah.
I'll just come
say
along for the
one
fun.
more thing before we go. I know we're about to get ready to go, but can I just touch on the IEP
Sure.
just for a second?
Yeah.
Then this was a tip that was given to me. It's a group on Facebook called Dad's Mom, DATSMOM, and she's based out of Montgomery. But a lot of times when we go into these meetings and we see, they've got the counselor there, they've got all these people, and it can be intimidating
Yes,
and
it can.
overwhelming, and I just want to make sure that when you go into the meeting, you're well prepared. You write out some of your child's strengths, write
Mhm.
out, their weaknesses or areas that they need work on, write out
Mhm.
goals for them, and have them to add those, to the IEP.
Mhm.
But just make sure that you go in as your kid's advocate, because like I said before, like you're the expert,
Expert. Mhm.
along with the team. So just don't go in and just let them give you a cookie cutter
Yep.
IEP and then
Absolutely.
kind of send you on your way.
Mhm.
Because like I said, this is a spectrum. What works for my son might not work for Dr. Nicole's son, vice versa. And so make sure that when you go in, you're not intimidated. If you can take somebody with you, for support, take
Yep.
somebody with you
Mhm.
that knows your child or your loved one, and just
Absolutely.
have things already prepared so that when they get to the sections about what is he good at, or what is she what are some of her strengths, you can say, well, she does this and she does this, kind of go down the
Mhm.
line, so they'll know that you own your stuff with your child
And
and they
most
can't just give
definitely.
you anything.
Ask for stuff. Ask for it. All they can say is no. And if they say no, ask them to put it in writing. That's why I was saying when somebody said, "What can I do?" up here earlier, that's why I said I need an extra body to come to this IEP. And
Mm-hmm.
and if they say that they can't provide you with a math tutor, make them put it in writing that they
Yep.
cannot provide you with a math tutor. If they're saying they can't provide you with a paraprofessional, make them put it in writing that they're not going to do that and why. Sometimes they're not going to want to put that in writing because then that means they're out of compliance. They're supposed to provide accommodations that are reasonable and that are needed for your particular child and not like give the cookie cutter stuff. They're not supposed to do it.
And also too, if your children are in therapy at all, definitely I've been to many a IEP and 504 plan
Mhm.
when I work for agency and when I've been doing private practice. So, that extra body could be that child's therapist to help
Mhm.
navigate that. Because I do notice schools be a little different if they know the child is receiving out of school treatment. They be acting a little different,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yep.
like in a good way. Like they're like, oh, now they want to be on their stuff because another professional
Is in the
stakeholder
room.
is involved. So
If you have
So
ask questions when they're saying it's some of that stuff in those IEPs, you're like, what the heck does that mean? We did the WEX 12. Okay, excuse me, somebody, what that mean?
right,
What does that what does that measure?
Layman's
What
term.
is that? Right?
Yes,
Can you put that in layman's terms?
yes, yes.
Usually, when
right.
you go to an IEP, there's supposed to be the special education teacher, a regular education teacher, someone that is able to read the um the IEP for
Yeah.
you or other information. Then there's supposed to be a vice principal or a principal
Mhm.
in there. That's already four people, and it's just you.
And
Mhm.
maybe the psychometrist.
And a psychometrist, usually that, or like an OT, your speech will come. And so there's all those people there, and then it's you. And yes, it is a little bit intimidating. That's why I said if you want to help a parent with a child with an IEP, go to the IEP and you don't have to say a word. You just sit there. And when
Mhm.
it's time to vote, vote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Vote.
Bucky Brewster said, if you have an IEP in place, can you get it modified? Yeah,
Absolutely. You can call
yeah.
for a change or a modification or a meeting for your IEP at any time during the school year. You
Yes.
have that right.
Yep. Well, thank y'all so much for all of this. Just information for other people maybe didn't know, and now it's like, okay, therapists even have to deal with these challenges, so that normalizes it and makes it like, okay, this is something we can do.
Yeah.
And I would just say, don't feel like your child is a lost cause. I used to work in special needs, and some of those kids that were extremely debilitated, when I started with them, they made some amazing strides, just adding that confidence to what they could do,
Mhm.
and learning how they learn to help better and more effectively. And they really came a long way. So don't feel like that's I know initially, yeah, it will be jarring. You don't want to hear something's different about your kid than other kids. But once you do get through that, know that, okay, the more time, just like if your kid was typical, the more time and effort I put in on my end, and the consistency and structure I put in, my kid can actually be a successful member of society.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With a job, maybe driving, with going to school, definitely, and maybe even living on their own, just depending on where your particular child is and what their particular needs are. But they're, even if accommodations have to be in place to help them be more independent, this stuff is available.
You'd be surprised how many people, like famous people are on the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they're out, actors and politicians, and they out doing their thing.
Yep.
Elon Musk is on the spectrum.
And yes.
Anthony Hopkins is on the spectrum, and he's my favorite. He played Hannibal.
Shoot, some of y'all listen. Some of y'all favorite dude. I don't know. He seemed like he could have been on the spectrum and was sitting up in office for 4 years.
Girl, hush your mouth.
Okay, we
Hmm.
Some
No,
of
we
y'all.
got to cut. I was like,
he got some other stuff too.
Oh no, he definitely has some other stuff. Definitely some other things. That would not
Yeah.
be the only thing.
yeah, Elon Musk has admitted that he's on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a whole billionaire.
And
Yep.
so yes, they can do anything that they put their minds to. It's no limits. They out of the box to me.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I know one personally, a guy on the spectrum who I'm still thinking about letting him be my accountant, because I just know he can do it. Like he's one of those. He's like, tell me what your birthday is, and I'll tell you what day you were born. That's his superpower.
It's a guy on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok that does that, and it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Oh, you were born on a Monday." I Googled. Sure enough, I was born on a Monday.
Yeah. If you let someone on the spectrum do your taxes, they are going to be meticulous. They are going to be complete.
Government gonna be giving me back even more money.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yep. Yup. They're gonna make sure it's right, done correctly. And that's what I like. Somebody that's not gonna mess up the numbers. And I trust that someone on the spectrum would make sure that that happens. Yeah. So yeah, ASD individuals are my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for staying over. And thank y'all for just your commitment, your passion to it. I know y'all both had the children um, to kind of help motivate, but just even being willing to be open about it and be encouraging. So thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll see y'all both again soon.
Hey,
Thank
we'll
you.
come back anytime.
Right, exactly. I know it. Well, y'all have a good evening then.
Okay, you
All
too.
right. Y'all
Thank-
too.
Bye,
All
everybody.
right, bye.
Bye bye.
All right, guys. So there you go. We got our autism awareness on. And hopefully it normalizes it for you or your loved ones. That's very important that you share this live so that I'm sure you know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody that's on the spectrum. Okay. So definitely be sure that you're sharing this live so that we can build awareness and add to breaking the stigma that surrounds uh, autism spectrum disorder and brings awareness to it and humanizes people on the spectrum a little better. So I ain't forget y'all. Don't worry, I ain't forget. If you know, you know. It's $100 cash app giveaway. All right, so y'all get ready. Y'all do y'all thing. If you know, you know. You got the instructions. Let me get something to. I did not get no writing utensil. I got them. Y'all know how this works. I'm gonna say your name and your number 2 times. I'm gonna do it 2 times. So go ahead and get your ears ready, get the wax out, get yourself ready to listen. For your number and your name, but we gonna get it popping. We went a little over, but I think it was good because we needed that information. Definitely. So all right. All right. And remember, if your number lands, you'll have to have done everything to win. And if you're in the text community or in the newsletter, then you know what everything is. Okay? Awesome. All right, so let's see. Magnolia Marchant is number 1. Magnolia Marchant is number 1. Toya Betts is number 2. Toya Betts is number 2. Saniqua Burton is number 3. Saniqua Burton is number 3. Tanea Keller is number 4. Tanea Keller is number 4. Danielle Robinson is number 5. Danielle Robinson is number 5. Kay Candles is number 6. Kay Candles is number 6. Malika Cole is number 7. Malika Cole is number 7. Christy Davis is number 8. Christy Davis is number 8. Let me be sure I'm not missing nobody. Yes. Alexis Carl is number 9. Alexis Carl is number 9. Antoinette Danielle is number 10. Antoinette Danielle. Natasha Dalbert, is it Dalberesti. Oh my gosh, I feel like that's wrong. Natasha D, okay, is number 11. Natasha D is number 11. Nikki Leilani is number 12. Nikki Leilani is number 12. Punky Brewster is number 13. Punky Brewster is number 13. All right, we got it. We got it. Y'all know the deal. I'll show y'all everything. Let me open a tab and then I will share my page. And let's see what's crack-a-lacking. All right. Did you get no? You were 16 last time. That's what happened. Now you're 13 this week. And I'm gonna make sure I include it. I'm not even gonna rush. I'm gonna make sure I include it. All right, cool. All right. Random number wheel generator. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay. So we got the minimum is 1. And the maximum is 13. Make sure I got it. All right, let's see what we got. Let's spin the wheel here. Wow, number 1. Woo! Who had got it? Who had got it? Who had got it? Did you win? Was it Magnolia? Hold on. Who was it? Wait, was it you? I don't even know. That's why I said twice for y'all to hang on to your own number. It was. Yes. Okay. Yay. Congratulations. See? You got it. You got it. Let us go ahead. Y'all give Magnolia a big congratulations. This is Magnolia's first time to win. Yay. Woo! All right, let's see. Let's see what we got. Because y'all know I got to show you that I sent it and all that. So y'all know it ain't no cap over here. Okay, let's see. And then Magnolia. Since this is Magnolia's first time, I'll have to put you on in there. And me. All right, we got you. Congratulations from Yellowbird Counseling. And we're going to put the 3 dots and send that right over to Magnolia Marchant. Yes. Doo-doo-doo. Got it. Congratulations. Right in time for the weekend. All right. Love it. All right, y'all. You got it? Let us know you got it. Yay. Love it. Awesome. 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 Perfect. She got it. Cool. All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all so much for joining. Please, again, share and, copy this link. Maybe you got a coworker or a family member you'd like to watch this live. You can really just text it to them. You can click on the share button, click on more options. You can copy the link and text the link to whoever you want to see it. So if you'll text it, put it on your page, put it in your group so we can honor Autism Awareness Month and spread the information and the education. All right, until next time, I will see y'all. Not next Thursday, but the Thursday after that. I'll be gone next Thursday, but the Thursday after that, we will be back at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. Mountain, which is 6 p.m. Pacific. We will see you then, and we'll start talking about Stress Awareness Month and proper stress management. See y'all soon.